I was really shocked to hear this news today. We've been counting on congestion pricing to do so many things for the
Andrew
MTA
Albert
capital
tells me the MTA board didn't see this one coming. He says not going through with the congestion pricing plan is a big loss for commuters. According to the MTA's website, $12 billion was going to go for subway and bus capital improvements, $1.5 billion for the Long Island Railroad, and $1.5 billion for Metro North. More specifically, the MTA has said the money was going to fund accessibility projects like new ramps and elevators, new electric buses, elevator and escalator replacements, infrastructure projects like track upgrades and bridge repairs, new rail cars and buses, and extending the 2nd Avenue subway to East Harlem, as well as modernizing signals to allow trains to move more closely together. Albert says his understanding is that the projects that were already underway, like elevators and ramps, would continue, but new subway cars and buses and the 2nd Avenue subway extension are now off the table.
We need to cut expenditures by 32%.
Let's make it an even 40.
Oh, that's not necessary.
Slash it. Slash it.
I know I promised some good news, but we're still monitoring a lot that's going on here, especially in New York City with what has been going on with the migrant crisis situation, the crime, and also we're dealing with the fight for congestive pricing. You have lawsuits on both sides. There are those for the congestive pricing and against on there because the governor, Kathy Hochul, has put a halt on this. And what we mean by that, if you haven't caught what's been going on in New York, is they claim they did this environmental impact, which is, it's all bullshit. It's all, how they call it, crypt notes to the situation. They didn't do really a full environment investigation on this because this will affect everybody in all the boroughs on what they're doing. Because what they wanted to do is, if you want to head below 60th Street in Manhattan, you're going to have to pay a toll. Yeah, that's right. Not only that, you have the outer tolls on the bridges and some of the expressways that you have to do. Now you got to pay an additional around, if you're a car, about $15 just to get below 60th Street in Manhattan. And for the reason is they said, well, there's too much traffic. There's too much traffic that's going on. Well, there is traffic. We're in New York City. That's what's going to happen. But what is really happening out there because of that, because that this has been put on hold, the MTA in their childish graces have put a halt on a lot of things, almost having like a tantrum.
Really?
Because, the one thing that gets me in politics is you have all these bills that come out that say, well, we're going to charge this, we're going to charge that, it's going to help us down the line. That it's going to save us on taxes, stuff like that. Meanwhile, it's like they start spending it before they get it. I mean, it's like you're spending the money. I mean, have you taken out a loan to the situation and all that? And that's what the MTA, it seems in its wisdom, it's an insane wisdom, that they said, well, we're going to have to cancel a lot of these projects because we don't, we were relying on the congestive pricing to pay for everything. And we've heard already that they're going to be canceling part of the expansion of the 2nd Avenue subway, the installation of elevators on certain trains to help with people that are handicapped or disabled. That's the one that gets me. The one that gets me on that one is because for the reason is they say, they threaten, well, if you're disabled, you're going to get screwed because now we don't have the congestive pricing. You're going to be screwed. You won't be able to get on the subway. But meanwhile, most people outside of New York don't realize is the MTA has a program called Accessoride. And basically, if you're handicapped, if you're disabled, anything of that nature, you file a paperwork on it through the program, and you can have a minibus, or depending on your handicap or disable, you can have a car, minivan, minibus come pick you up directly at your home and drop you back off home. Sometimes you got to wait a bit and stuff like that. But I know people around me that have used it and have been satisfied with it. Then there are some people that don't like it. Well, you always have people that are both ways. But that kind of I laugh at that. And the thing about it is, with the congestive pricing, and one of the things that the problem that's going to be occurring with this is that they said, well, it's going to bring clean air to Midtown Manhattan. What about the outer boroughs? There are other people that live in New York City, in the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, and, of course, the forgotten borough, Staten Island. And the story that I wanted to bring to you today with the congestion price, and this is from the Staten Island Advance, is that the MTA is going to cancel the extra express buses because they're not getting any money from congestive pricing. Yeah, that's right, folks. If those of you, if you live here in Staten Island, you rely on the buses. If you're near the train line that takes to or from the Staten Island ferry, of course, the ferry itself. There's a bus line that crosses over into Brooklyn that you're able to, and it stops right in front of the R train. So you can grab the R train and go into the city there. But now the MTA is saying, oh, you guys didn't like our congestive pricing, so now we're going to take away your buses. So let's read into this, and this is directly from the Staten Island Advance. MTA could cancel extra Staten Island Express buses without funding from New York City's congestive pricing. The MTA could end expanded express bus trips for 4 routes on the Staten Island due to the cancellation for congestive pricing, which would have provided funding to the agency. In a memo dated July 19th, MTA Chief of Operations Planning Christopher, sorry if I mispronounce this, Pagalinian, recommended that the Transportation Authority nix extra weekday trips added in the few weeks. The MTA was scheduled to add additional trips to the SIM 23, SIM 24 in each directions during rush hours peaks to begin in the summer. Along with the 2 South Shore routes, an extra SIM 1C was added for the afternoon trips to Manhattan, and 1 more SIM 4C was scheduled for afternoon trips back to Staten Island. The additional service was part of a pilot program that was set to begin on what would have been the start date of congestive pricing. If you notice that, they were expecting to get the money and use it on this bus line. Should the MTV approve the memo that affected the lines would revert to their schedules from earlier this year. Beyond the 1C, 4C, 23, 24 routes selected locally, the BM2 and BM5 routes chosen in Brooklyn would also have service cut back to the spring schedules. The memo recommends, section reads, return to previous schedules and discontinue trips that were added in the summer 2024 to express routes BM2, BM5, SM, the 1C, 4C, and 23, which is Staten Island, and 24 in connection with the anticipated launch of congestive pricing. The decision is not set in stone, as an alternative is mentioned in the document. The MTA could decide to continue the extra buses trips, but additional funding must be set aside. Yeah, don't pay your president a lot of money. People that are doing that work for the MTA that's earning a lot of money and not doing the job that they sent there to. When first announced, the MTA said the program would cost $883,000 per year, paid out of the agency's out-of-borough transportation account. The unveiling of the program in April came on the heels of an investment of over $8.7 billion for transit and transportation in the state budget for the coming fiscal year. A previous MTV program pilot with one local bus line in each borough running without collecting fares was not renewed beyond September of this year. Yeah, that's right. We had a couple of the bus lines. It was one per borough. And the one out here was the S46, which basically ran from the ferry to to the end of Marinus Harbor. It's a long line, and surprisingly, it was a school line to begin with. But school is out at this time of the year. But see, it's, and I always say this is the forgotten borough. There's a lot of people who use the buses. We need more bus lines running on here. We need more buses. We need more drivers. It's obvious because we get a lot of unlike the city, which runs better on time than the outer boroughs. You have these points where there are not enough drivers. People call out sick. Buses fail. And they're spending money. And this is what it gets me. They're spending money on these battery operated buses. And this is New York City. Okay, understand this. A heavy flooding rainstorm or a snowstorm will impede these buses from operating properly. I don't care what anybody says. You need some, wheel power underneath those buses when it snows heavily here, or like out here in Staten Island, we get flooding on like Florida does on a heavy rainstorm. And even the gas powered buses end up getting slowed down, or they have to pull over for a moment while the rain goes in. And not considering the ones that leak. Oh man, there's a couple of them out there that basically, they have their issues on there. And on a rainstorm, you'll have water entering into the bus itself.
Gerrit, deze is af een bus. Ik laag mijn mooisjes af, dus kijk op deze. Wauw, bus ga ik ervoor. Wauw. Dit is Steve Ogert, dit is Nishak. Dit is, what? Ai, 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 ai. Ai, 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 ai.
These are the things that the MTA needs to resolve to the situation. They talk about, we get our federal money and all that, but we were depending on that money from congestive pricing. No, repair what you're supposed to repair. Fix, the bail, people that jumping the fare situation on there. Which out here, we get people that do it all the time, and there are cops at St. George's Ferry catching them as they jump on board on there. But you have a lot of kids that do this constantly. That they just, like, a whole bunch of them run in, for well after school, not in their district. That's the thing. Their bus passes are for certain districts, and they're way out of their district and then jumping on board the buses. And this happens constantly. It is a constant event. But the other event is that basically the money that they're pumping into, like I said, into a lot of this Manhattan especially, is not being put in the right places. They want to build a tunnel another tunnel for the for the Long Island Railroad. They want to cross over, and the thing about it is, here in Staten Island, we have one rail system. We could use a secondary one that can run from Brooklyn straight through Staten Island and into New Jersey. That would bring a lot of people back and forth. And the thing about it is, half the rail system is there. It just needs to be repaired. You're going to save money on it because basically, technically, some of the stations are already there. They're in disarray, but they can be fixed. Could you imagine if someone lives in Brooklyn and they want to get to Jersey, what do they have to do to get to Jersey? The trip that they would have to do. Some people would avoid that situation and not go to New Jersey. But having a subway that will take you through Staten Island, if you have to get to Staten Island, and then into New Jersey, it's well worth it. Connecting to the lines within New Jersey. Because there are malls in New Jersey, too. We have a mall here in Staten Island. The people that, people might want to come to as well. We have nice outlets. Real nice outlets out here also. New stuff that's opening up. New stores. We have BJ's Wholesalers opening up also very soon on there. And other supermarkets too. Because I'll tell you this. Citywide versus outer borough. Some of the prices on here is well worth taking the trip on mass transit on there. And the thing about it is they want people to use mass transit more often, but they're not putting the money where they're supposed to. Like I said, a subway from Brooklyn to Staten Island to New Jersey would be cost effective. It'll bring a lot of people, especially people going to and from work. It'll save them time, bring jobs back and forth. This is what you want. But the thing about it is they'll put into this congestive pricing that will affect the health of people in Staten Island, Brooklyn, Bronx, as far as the health on there and parts of Queens as well. Because it's going to divert the traffic into our boroughs. People do not realize that. It's going to clean the air. No, it's not. You're just taking the bad air and moving it elsewhere. And as far as the trucks go, you have a lawsuit from the trucking industry, and because basically, they need to come in. They have to pay a bigger fee. They have to make deliveries to the stores, buildings, and stuff like that here in New York City. And if they have to pay an extra fare to get here, they're paying enough for the gas and the fares that they're already going back and forth on. Now you've tacked on another fee. So let me know in the comments below your thoughts about this. I know those of you who are outside New York, what do you think? Should the congestive pricing continue? Should it not? Should the MTA start beginning to look? And let me tell you something. The MTA does have properties they could sell off if they need cash. So let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share this video, and hopefully today's the day I earn your subscription. So until next time, thank you for the support. Thank you for watching. Have a good one. Have a good rest of the summer. Bye-bye now.
Thanks for watching, commenting, and sharing this video. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe as this helps the reach of this channel. Finally, as a content viewer, you have the ability to help support this channel as new internet laws around the world will diminish our reach and affect our sponsors. If you choose to help, there are two ways listed in the description below. The first link will lead you to a pay site where you can make a monetary donation. The second will lead you to our gear shop where you can buy shirts, mugs, and other gear. Discounts will be listed on the site. Once again, thank you for watching and your support.